Hi everybody, I'm Frank Clifford and welcome to Frank Answers. In this session, I'm going to look at a question that Maggie raised about her life purpose. And I'll read out what she says here. I'd love to know what my chart indicates about my purpose in this lifetime. I'm starting a business as a sort of soul life guide to help people gain insight into their lives and how they can empower themselves to find their own answers. Well, join the club, Maggie. This is what I love to do too, and this is what I'm trying to do here, and I think with my own life work. You work with dreams, cards, Maggie says, and other tools, and hope eventually to use some astrology when she learns some more as well. Just in the process of formulating the business and what it will include, and it would be good to have any insight into those areas. Well, one of the things that we astrologers notice a lot is that people usually know the answers to their own questions. And it feels like Maggie is really living out that aspect of her chart, supporting people, encouraging people to live their lives, take responsibility. And we can see that because the sun in the chart here is very much about life purpose, mission, vocation, that sense of what's important to me. That's what the sun says about that. I'm going to be giving you a lot more information about that in the coming months. In Maggie's chart, the sun's in Taurus. And Taurus, we think of simply sometimes, too simply, as the sign of stubbornness, the sign of nature. We think of it in very simplistic terms, but it's really getting back in a Venusian way to what you value, what you love to do, what's important, getting your feet on the ground. And so people who have got the sun in Taurus, and Maggie's a double Taurus with the sun and the ascendant there, they're very good at helping people ground themselves, find themselves, get in touch with what is important on the most fundamental level to people. So Taurians are very good at being solid, strong rocks, supporters for others, hopefully supporters for themselves too. And in the chart, we can see that the sun is directly opposite Saturn in Scorpio. And I might answer this in a separate question, but when you've got a retrograde Saturn and anything that, apart from the moon, anything that's opposite the sun is going to be retrograde. When you've got a retrograde Saturn, there's often an early experience of taking on too many responsibilities, maybe going to work early, taking on the role of a parent, parenting a parent, but certainly feeling responsible and older than your years. And having the sun opposite Saturn can often be indicative of someone who feels like they should being a very good Saturn word, they should be looking after others, helping other people structure their lives and supporting other people. So Maggie's doing a lot of what is natural to her. Part of me wants to say, enjoy the process yourself and don't always put everything on your own shoulders. Encourage people to help themselves and also have some fun with your work, with your life, doing your own thing as well. Because when you find a sun in Taurus person, they're really with you. They're like, I've agreed to hold your hand, I'll do it until the end of time. The Saturn involvement as well, that opposition from the sun to Saturn, has also double commitments, double seriousness about my responsibilities. So part of me wants to say to Maggie as well, that sounds like you're fulfilling a lot of what you were born to do by helping others and helping them get in touch through dreams and other things, cards, etc. But also have a bit of fun. Bring laughter and fun into your life. Bring spontaneity into your life as well. You're not here to do all the hard work for everybody else. You're here to have some fun too. And I can say that with some confidence because the sun and the ascendant are ruled, or the dispositor, as we say, because they're both in the sign of Venus. Venus is here as in Gemini, and we've also got Jupiter in Gemini. So these two placements say, have fun, just keep learning, keep exchanging, offer advice, hear it back, connect with people, have fun being an eternal student. Dreams, the emotional life, this is going to be important to a moon in Pisces person. And in the 11th house, there's going to be a need to be of service to others. Again, don't lose yourself in that need. Have good boundaries, ensure that you have time to play, to have fun, and enjoy arts, music, photography, all the moon in Pisces stuff that they can enjoy and love. But yes, don't sacrifice your energy and your time beyond a particular limit that feels comfortable for you. What's interesting, and I'm sure I'll mention this quite a few times in Frank Answers, is that the moon is not only the planet we think of home and mother and food and feeding and nurturing, it's also the main significator of what we need in relationships and what we need at work. And the moon in Pisces, for example, needs a lot of quiet, needs some stillness. It needs to be by the water. If you've got an opportunity to hear a bit of music or just silence during the day while you're working, to tune in, to relax, to let go, this is going to be an important thing for a moon in Pisces. All water moon people need some level of solitude amid all the drama that often comes into their lives through work and relationships. So again, this chart says, yes, you're going to be drawn with that Sun Saturn into looking after people, helping them restructure their lives where there's been a crisis or a problem, a breakdown, a difficulty, but also have some creative fun, do things that don't go anywhere. Learn to paint, learn to do things that don't have a career trajectory attached to them as well. Let's take a look at the rest of Maggie's question. She's recently retired and felt strongly during the last year, 2020, that my time has come, great, to do this sort of work, and that she's been waiting my whole life for this moment. I spent last year, she says, and so far this year, furthering my education in dream work and cards. Astrology is next on my list. Wonderful. Well, it sounds like your Gemini planets are really hungry for knowledge. And remember, the great thing about Gemini is that you don't have to do one thing. Gemini is all about duality. It's all about mixing a bit of this with that, a bit of cards with a bit of insight from numerology, astrology, palmistry, tarot, whatever it may be. But the gift of your Venus and Jupiter in Gemini in your chart is the gift to be able to poach a little bit from everywhere you learn, bring it together into some sort of understandable, easy to use method for people. So the talent of Taurus is to be there, to be solid, to be dependable and depended on. And the talent of Gemini there with Venus and Jupiter there is very much about having fun, putting together your own eclectic mix of what you do well. And Gemini loves aphorisms, bon mots, anything that is playful, fun, witty, bite-sized, Twitter-sized, whatever you want to collect. So have fun with that. And she says that Astrology Hub has been such a great blessing. I think a lot of you feel that way. I'm delighted to be part of it now. I hope that helps, Maggie. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you all very soon.